What's up, bro? So today is the 2nd January of the new year 2025. And I did like a last year's audit or looking back on whether I achieved the targets I set out to. Only like one of them got checked off. The other two, the boxes are not ticked. I have to tick the boxes. So this is not something that I set out to achieve and I don't achieve it. It's not like, oh, I'm just going to move on from it. No, I have to still achieve it. The primary motive behind all the goals I set last year was that they are low hanging fruit. Because for me and my skill level and my experience level, those were in reach for me. Those were not too big of an ambitious goal, like at all. Not at all. Those were in my reach. And I still failed to achieve two of those like objectives, which just proves my point that I'm not very experienced in this game. I managed to achieve one of them. So this year, I still have to achieve them. I set out three goals, like 5 kilo muscle, two boxing fights, and 1K online income. So now that I have a year experience of on and off working, on and off, on and off, on and off, not fully committing to it like a extended period of time. Because if I did that, I'd probably end up achieving it. I would have, but because I didn't, the learning lesson is you're just on and off. You work for a week, then you won't. You not work for a month, then you will do for 3 days. That kind of shit. And an entire fucking year of that. But you learn your lesson. It's a waste of time. I am angry, but there's no point in like you have to like learn from it and grow from it because those were the two most important things, like making money and two fights. If I went to two fights and started making online income, my life wouldn't be the same. But I did put on 5 kilo of muscle. Now I have to shave the fat down to like reveal the muscle. Has my life really changed? I'll only see if I'm shaving down the fat, but I'm not even doing that now. I'm like, I want to build more muscle. But I'm also thinking, because last year I couldn't enjoy the fruits of my labor for an entire year. I bulked. So this year maybe I should enjoy the fruits of my labor, get lean, and enjoy what your new level of muscle mass has to offer. Because with new level of new muscle mass, maybe you'll like get more attention from females or whatever. But maybe your clothes fit better, you feel confident, and maybe you feel stronger. Because at this point, because I'm like 20%, 20+% body fat, I just feel sluggish and not too athletic. My face is all puffy, blurry abs, and so I read back one of the lectures I listened to, like by Hamza, when I was in like adult school, like a couple months ago, and it was probably one of the most valuable lectures I've ever listened to from him. He told me that when you're trying to achieve some big goal, your priority is the big goal, but in terms of actually achieving the goal, it's not about you doing the tasks to get to that goal, which may seem like the answer on the surface, but it's the guy, it's the man you become who is worthy of the success that you're like setting out to achieve. So let me give you an example. Let's say you want to build 5 kilo of muscle. It's not about just bulking up or just lifting the weights. It's about the guy who you become by going to the gym like 5, 6 times a week, lifting with intensity, lifting with intention, learning the exercises, learning techniques, learning your understanding your body, learning nutrition, what works for you, what doesn't work for you, trial and error. And by the end of the year, when you do all of those, you'll have a better understanding about your body mechanics and your body physiology. Now that's me now. I now have a better understanding of what my body needs to like build muscle and good nutrition feels good for me. That's the point. Like that's the same with business success. That's the same with the boxing. That's the same with relationship success. So it's everything. In a weird way, I focus more on diet now, like bulking, eating more food, and less focused on lifting because that's just a habit of me now. I just lift heavy shit. That's all. But for me to gain that 5 kilo of muscle, I had to become the guy who eats more. So that's how you gain weight. So weirdly enough, I know that sounds somewhat weird to say this. It's like, what are you on about? Hear me out. You had to become the guy who ate more food. But if you just normally try to put on 5 kilo without eating much, you would have just spinning wheels. You wouldn't have gotten nowhere. So that's what I'm trying to say. It's not about focusing directly on the thing that you want to achieve, which may seem like common sense because that's how you achieve things. If you want more money, you work. You want more muscle, you lift weights. That seems like common sense, but it's the guy you become who does the things, has the habits for this particular goal. So because I just suffered last year and not much progress has been made in terms of my money or my boxing or my social life or my dating life. Because I told you I had no experience and I set out to achieve the low hanging fruit. Now I'm gonna include social life and dating life as part of my goals. Last year it was just wishy washy. I didn't purposefully plan to like go out at least a week, once a week. I didn't even intentionally set out that. So my social life suffered, my dating life suffered. I didn't have a social life. I didn't have a dating life. I went out with like 3 girls last year. 3 fucking days. That's bullshit. But this year, I'm setting out 5 goals. And because I had a bad experience with the monthly milestones, like setting out to achieve this month. A month is a long period of time. A month is a big chunk of time. So me, if I want to stay accountable to myself and chase after something day after day, I need weekly targets. So 52 weeks in a year, starting from this week, I'm gonna have 52 weekly targets because you're working day after day, and it's hard to fall off track. It took you an entire fucking year to understand this. You're dumb as fuck. I set out social life goals, dating life goals, and still the same money goals, boxing goals, and muscle goals. Because I'm not gonna be like, what's let's say like 90 kilo bodybuilder type shit. I'm just gonna be like 75. Even getting to 70 is like ridiculously difficult because I'm not like genetics. But I can confidently say maybe if I cut down now, I'll end up at 70, 72, somewhere around there. I don't have to get down to 65 now to have the visible abs and the bicep vein and shit. That's one box checked off. So the second one, I didn't fight twice this year. I didn't even get to fight once. I didn't even make £1 online, but I set out to achieve £1,000 monthly income. So, as far as this year is concerned, this is going to be another year of trying to grow. This year, including my social and dating lives, it's going to be a lot more colorful year of growth because last year was mundane and dull and boring. This year is going to be a lot more colorful because of the social and dating life involved in it. Because rinse and repeat. You go out, you use the learned social skills, and you come back, you do an audit every week, and you read a book on social skills, sales, game, flirting, frame, all that, just to like become more charming and a charismatic person, you know. Because most fuckers, let's be honest, most people don't even think about becoming more charismatic and better with people. Most fuckers don't. But that's one of the most important and valuable skills you can have as a man, even as a woman. Like being able to handle people, like people liking you, people respecting you. No one thinks about this shit. Even if they do, they just want like, oh, people should love me and care for me for who I am. Not really, bro. Not really. So here's the like tangible goals I set for my money making goals because all I set out to achieve was like, oh, start making £1,000 on a month online. On the surface, it seems like a good idea, but that's fucking bullshit. Because you're on zero now. What business model do you choose, and what tangible tasks do you do every single week, week after week, to so it accumulates, it compounds into something that starts generating income. You just said, oh, I'm gonna make £1,000 a month. 12 months later, you're still a fucking zero. So the goal I set for myself was 5 YouTube videos a week and 3 hours a day, 7 days a week, which is 21 hours a week in the real world, learning shit and implementing shit, 3 hours a day. Because I know I should be there in like 6 hours and 8 hours a day, but let's be realistic for who I am and my experience and my capabilities. That's not gonna fucking happen. I'm not gonna be in there for 6 hours. So 3 hours is realistic enough for me. So I also set out a punishment or like a penalty or fine if I don't end up achieving the weekly targets, which is like if you don't do one weekly target, if you manage to fail it, you have to run a mile. So if you all of the 5 goals, you have like so many little weekly targets. You have to tick every single one of them every week. If you fail to tick one of them, you have to run 1 mile for one missed target. So I thought to myself, yeah, that's not a very bad idea, bro. Because running's good, you know. I hate running. So that's exactly what I needed as punishment. And it's gonna be like good for your boxing as well. It's never gonna hurt you, put it that way. It's gonna build more endurance. So as far as the social skills goals I set and weekly targets is I didn't achieve this set this big goal. Remember that. All of the goals I set out to achieve is weekly based goals. Completely weekly based goals. It's gonna be week after week after week. And the weeks are gonna compound. That's how I'm gonna like achieve the things I wanna achieve. So for the social skills is a weekly target is speak to 7 guys a week, which is 1 guy a day. Even just saying hello to a guy or hi or you're right to a guy counts. 1 guy a day, one new guy a day. Don't speak to the same guy every day and say that counts. It doesn't. And for the dating life, it's just pretty much the same. Speak to 2 new females a day. It doesn't matter if she's like your age or if she's a grandma or if she's middle-aged. Just speak to 2 new females. She could be 70 years old. She could be 45 years old. Or she could be 20 years old. Just speak to like 2 new females a day, which is 14 a week. 14 new females a week. And these might seem like, oh, it's not going to get you that much results. But that's how it's supposed to seem like. Because if you think about it, like, with the compounding interest of this, you're bound to go out with at least one of them. Like after 14, you're at least bound to go out one of them and end up having going to an event or having a date or spending some time. So did you see that I didn't put out that go out to town once a week like I did last year? I said out to speak to this many people this week. That is a more like high ROI activity, high leverage task for this. Because going out by myself and sitting in a cafe by myself doesn't really improve my social skills as much. I don't get to use my charisma. But speaking to random people gets to me leveling up my charisma. I didn't even put down like people in the gym. I just put down people in general. So it could be on the street, it could be on the bus, it could be in the gym, it could be anywhere. It could be even in town, like going to town to speak to people. But that's stupid and pathetic. Don't do that. Even when people around my area, my neighborhood, you're bound to like go out with at least one guy, like going to the gym with one guy or going to boxing with one guy or going on a date with one girl. It's just bound to happen if you're speaking to that. The sample size is fucking huge every week. You see that? 14 females a week and 7 guys. You're bound to like meet someone. And week after week you're doing that, a lot of people are gonna end up knowing who you are. So it's just a big, massive yeah, it's a massive sample size if you think about it. By the end of 1 month, you would have spoken to like 14, okay, 7 times 4, 28 guys and 28, 40, 56 girls a month and 28 guys a month. That sample size of people who you spoke to is fucking huge. They might be in this neighborhood who you might run into later on in the year. So it's going to be like a big branding thing as well for you. like lots of people knowing who you are because oh, this is the social confident guy who speaks to everyone with polite, he's fun, he's charming. I know that sounds cringe to like talk about yourself like that. And in terms of my muscle thing goal I set this year is just go to the gym 6 days a week, as in like five full training days and one arm day. Because now I switched up my routine to make it more arm dominant. Because let's be honest, your body needs more guns. So, and I set out to my leg routines to be more lower back focused because when I turn to the side, there's just no density in my back. So and so I just want more like lower back and like glutes and hamstrings and all that. Quads, I don't really care that much about quads. Having strong quads is good, but having massive quads is not something I'm like passionate about. But having like strong posterior chain is very, very essential in like any athletic activity you do. So that's that. And I didn't really like put down, oh, should you bulk or should you cut or nothing. It's just that one is gonna be like I'm gonna wing it, which sounds bad because you should plan it and but this year I wanna enjoy myself. I wanna like go on more dates and have more social experiences. But if you're just a fat guy, no guy wants to hang around with you, no girl wants to go on a date with you. Just like depressing. But if you like lean, you got a dog stubble going on, you got your clothes fit perfectly because of the muscle mass you built, it's a different experience, bro. I just wanna like experience that this year. Don't wanna be the same old bulking loser who's like just go to the gym and go out once every 3 months. So for the boxing, I put down that I wanna fight 5 times this year. 5 fights. Because last year I trained for the whole year, but I didn't get one fight. I set this 2 fights goal because at that point when I set that goal, I was training for a year. But now at this point, I've been training for 2.5 years. So it's very realistic for me to like fight 5 times this year. I hope that makes sense. When I set that goal of fighting 2 times last year, I was training for a year. But now, today, I have been training boxing for 2.5 years. So for me, this year, 12 months, fighting 5 times a year is very realistic. I could be even doing more, but 5 times is like the goal, the minimum. That's not a very weekly target in terms of boxing, but I will set more like goals because I need to find a gym. My gym's closing down in about a month, so I need to find a gym or start training at home or I have to do something. So last year, the mindsets were just all over the place, just like all over the place. A new mindset every day. But this year, the one thing I want you to believe in and stick by that mindset. You don't need to like start listening to any other shit. You just need to believe in God hates the lazy. God loves people who try their best. Those two sentences. Just remember that. And that will just squeeze more work out of you. Even if you're like feeling tired midway through your work session when you're working, just say that to yourself and you'll be like, yeah, I'm not lazy. I want God to like love me. I want God to like bless me. It'll just end up like squeezing more hours of work from you. So I think I explained my plan pretty well. I don't know. I have to like edit this video and make sure it's listenable, so it's not all over the place and I'm just yapping here. So that's it. So because I'm saying like social and dating life has goals now, I'm pretty sure I'll be more happy if that makes sense. I'm not chasing happiness, but I'll be more like a normal human as opposed to being a loner who's depressed but doesn't even believe depression is real. Like so you'll be a lot more social, a lot more outgoing, just being out of the house more because you're like speaking to loads of people. You'll want to go out more. It's just gonna be like a positive feedback loop when you just speak to people, they invite you somewhere, you go out some people going out somewhere, you bump into the people you spoke to, you come back to training, you come back to work, you're just feeling positive, you're making progress, you're training for your fight. It's just a positive thing going around and round and round. Just and it's gonna spiral up. Okay. A positive feedback loop goes around like this and it's gonna spiral upwards. So I hope this year goes well for you and you stick by the mindset I told you and you work hard and dedicate yourself and sacrifice and make sure you achieve what you set out to achieve. And I'll finish with the Drake quote. It's kind of cringe for me to say, but you know it's real when you are who you think you are.